Hello friends, welcome back to Rajunotes channel, your weekend updates on current affairs. Today we will do the weekend updates from 1st January 2022 to 8 January 2022. Mr. G. Ashok Kumar now becomes the Director General of National Mission for Clean Ganga, also called as NMCG. And after taking over as the DG, Mr. Ashok Kumar has in an interview said that he plans to replicate the Namami Gange model with the other rivers in the country, basically focusing on cleaning these rivers to make it more palatable for the human use in many ways. Well, I can think of this project immediately required for Yamuna probably, and probably let's see, many more rivers are there, but let's see as to how this project will turn over for the other thing. But we know that Namami Gange has been a good success. Now, what is the link between Dubai and Srinagar? Well, the Burj Khalifa's builders, that is MR developers, are now planning to develop a 5 lakh square feet shopping mall in Srinagar. Memorandum of understanding has already been signed by the governments of Dubai and Jammu and Kashmir to facilitate this investment. And MR, in addition to this, is also considering other investment into the real estate, hospitality and other projects in Jammu and Kashmir. This is exactly what we were talking about when we had discussed in detail the abrogation of the Article 370 as to how the investments would come into the states and how there would be employment for the local population. Well, this is the step which is now coming ahead. Recently there was a news and India woke up to an information warfare from China saying that China has captured the Galwan Valley, and there was a video doing circles wherein Chinese soldiers were unfurling a flag in a valley kind of a thing, and they wrote it as Galwan Valley, which was not true. India though did not act proactively take it, but as a reactive measure India did come up with our soldiers posing with the tricolor in the Galwan Valley, which was easily corroborated with the kind of a terrain what was shown or what you see in this picture. So, and the world suddenly probably thereafter learned that China was bluffing, and it was a rebuttal by the Indian side which has been accepted by the world, but a fact that India has certainly to do more with the information warfare than that of China. We need to still wake up to the Chinese information warfare and start our own on a very proactive basis. Dr. Alka Mittal is a name what you should now remember. Alka Mittal is the first woman to lead the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, also called as the ONGC, and she will now be the full-time director of ONGC. We know that Dr. Alka Mittal was appointed as ONGC's director in basically human resource in 2018, and she continues to hold this post. Dr. Alka Mittal had joined as the ONGC as a graduate trainee way back in 1985. So, name to remember, Dr. Alka Mittal taking over as a full-time director at ONGC this week. 5 major countries, US, Russia, China, UK and France, have agreed that a further spread of nuclear arms and nuclear war should be avoided, and they gave out a joint statement that any nuclear war cannot be won and must not be fought. It's a very good statement coming in, because we know that there are tension areas between Russia and Ukraine, Iran and US, North Korea, South Korea, India, China and Pakistan, where there are chances of a nuclear attacks. So however, despite saying all this, China still manages to say that they have a no first use policy on nukes. Despite knowing that no country in this world says that we will use nukes first, China made it as a kind of a pointer to be noted. With the Omicron spreading on a faster pace and we seeing huge cases going up in the Omicron, the central government has now issued new guidelines and directives, and it has directed that the central government employees will now rather I must say that the any employee who's below the level of undersecretary, about 50% of them can work from home. Also, the central government has decided to kind of stagger the office timings from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. basically to avoid overcrowding in the office. A point to take away: Omicron is on a rise. It is going exponentially high, though not lethal yet, but still the discomforts can be avoided. Please wear masks and keep sanitizing your hands. Last week we had discussed the NASA's successful launch of James Webb Space Telescope. The telescope is presently working well, and this week it had successfully deployed its critical sun shield on January 1st. Well, this sun shield is made up of a very light material called as Kapton, and this sun shield is approximately size of that of a tennis court, and this sun shield is coated with something like aluminium and doped silicon, which helps the telescope to cool down to approximately about 223 degrees centigrade, where the telescope functions to its optimum. We will very soon probably get good clarity pictures of the solar system thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope, probably the most powerful telescope which man had ever invented for the space. After Corona, now there is something which is coming up which is called as Flurona, and this Flurona has been reported in Israel, and Flurona is probably the mixture of both Corona and influenza having at the same time. As of now, there are the symptoms being shown are the same one, including cough, running nose, sore throat, fever, headache, fatigue, and such kind of things. However, now it is possible that these two will attack a person at the same time. So remember this term Flurona, that is combination of influenza and Corona at the same time. About 6 months back, we had discussed as to how China has successfully launched or tested an artificial sun. Well, artificial sun was not something up in the sky, but it was something to do in a lab wherein plasma's temperature was being taken to very high temperatures. Which was called as the EAST, which is the full form is the Experimental Advanced Superconducting Tokamak. The EAST had this time reached a temperature of 70 million Celsius, and it held this temperature for about 1056 seconds. So this kind of a capability to manage this kind of a temperature in a lab condition is a super advancement in the science and technology. Though China has achieved it, China says that it is using it would like to use this EAST program for creating a nuclear fission like that what sun does, using deuterium from the sea and provide clean energy. Well, how much they use it for clean energy and how much they use it for the destructive energy, that time I can only say, but a new progress, I must say, by a mankind in the field of science and technology. And last time when we had discussed this case, the EAST was able to run the plasma to about 120 million Celsius for 101 seconds. That was way back, I think, in May 2021. And it then went up to about 160 million Celsius, and it could hold it for 20 seconds. Though this time it has not gone up to those heights, those temperatures, but at 70 million Celsius it was there for good about 1000 seconds. That itself is a great achievement for the Chinese, or rather for the humankind. The ISRO chairperson K. Shivan said that they are targeting to launch the first of the 2 planned unmanned flights under the Gaganyaan mission before this year's Independence Day. That is, he's planning to launch them by 15th of August. Probably by 15th of August, he should be in a position to give us news of any of the 2 launches which he has planned. And the 3rd lunar mission, Chandrayaan 3, that is a manned mission, could be launched by mid 2023. Let's see how this turns out. We know that the entire Chandrayaan program took a setback because of the coronavirus. India will soon get e-passports, and probably we will do away with our existing passports. And as per the External Affairs Secretary, Mr. Sanjay Bhattacharya, he said that Centre will soon begin issuing e-passports for all the citizens. That these e-passports will be secured with your biometric data and would enable smooth passage across immigration posts globally. And he said that these passports are compliant with the International Civil Aviation Organization guidelines. So it is a good step. You are digitizing. You are no more probably carrying your passports every time and getting a fear of losing it or something. Probably these e-passports will help you in much smoother way to travel across the globe. And these e-passports will be produced at Nasik, Maharashtra. Japan, Australia have signed a landmark defense agreement that allows closer cooperation between their militaries, and this comes in the wake of China increasing its military and economic outreach in the Indo-Pacific region. And rather, we know why is this important, because Japan's only other military pact is with the US. Japan has, ever since Hiroshima, Nagasaki, we know that Japan has said no to any kind of war and rather military activities, but China is forcing them, and probably this is a reaction to that. And this was signed between the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and his Japanese counterpart, the Fumio Kishida, in a virtual meeting. And this is called as a Reciprocal Access Agreement, RAA, which is second of such for Japan. Just a point in addition to what the Quad countries are doing to put a grip onto China. Government has announced that something called as a National Water Awards. Well, this was a new award which has been instituted in the central government level, and this has this level National Water Awards were announced recently. And surprisingly, Uttar Pradesh bagged the first prize towards the water conservation in the National Water Awards. Maybe I must be wrong in saying surprisingly, but it did happen. And Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu have ranked second and third in this category. The Jal Shakti Ministry also announced the zone-wise winning districts as well as the best village panchayats amongst all. Whatever be the case, just case in point here is that one should remember that there is something called as a National Water Awards, which has now started by the government, and such awards will certainly encourage some states, or at least down to panchayat or urban local body, to conserve the water which is much needed. So a good job done by the Jal Shakti mission. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have said that now there is no need for you to re-register for taking the booster dose of the COVID vaccine. We know that you have taken first and second dose of the COVID vaccine, either it is Covishield or Covaxin. So government is now planning for a booster dose for all those who have taken first and second dose. However, they have clarified that you need not apply for this and then go to a center. If you are over 60 as of now, you can straight away walk to any vaccination center, give your details and get vaccinated without waiting for a kind of an appointment for a booster dose. So hope this also will help. But as the analysis grows, we see that there are a lot of reports saying that the Omicron virus or the vaccination for Omicron virus was probably much before, and this is also a pharmaceutical company's kind of I must say a plan to increase their sales and capitalize on the health. Maybe that is true, we just can't say anything, it is just a speculation. Let's hope that it is not true. And finally, I'll wrap up this week's update by the announcement that the Election Commission has just did it probably while I was recording this video. The Election Commission will now go in for 7-phase assembly elections in 5 states. That is, Uttar Pradesh will go poll in 7 phases from February 10th to March 7th, while as Punjab, Uttarakhand and Goa polling will take place on 14th February. Manipur will vote on February 27th and 3rd of March, and all the countings will probably take place after March 10th. And it is expected that about 18.34 crore electors will participate in this polls, and this is a huge election which is happening to wait, and many political parties' destiny will probably be decided. Well, that's all, friends, for this week's update. If you are new to my channel, kindly help me by pressing that subscribe button and the bell icon. And if you are already my subscriber, thank you so much, and please help me spreading this news to people, students who are taking various kinds of examination of UPSC, SSB or civils or any kind of a government job, and maybe it will help somebody by your sheer forwarding of this video to somebody. Thank you so much. Corona is on rise. Please wear mask, probably a double mask. Take care and stay home. Thank you.